Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the SLB Show. Sorry, it's a day delayed. The global AWS crash, DNS service stuff stopped play. We couldn't log in, and when we did, it was about 9:30, 10:15, and it was very too late to get going. So, recording this bit later, we'll get it out as quick as we can. I mean, you're listening to this, so that means we did get it out. But yeah, Louis, it's just Louis and I, as you may be able to see. So, Louis, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good as always, Grant. Good to speak with you, and yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Feels weird recording these during daytime at the moment, but hey ho. It's at the point of the season where teams have started making almost drastic roster changes. I suppose we should probably start with the Leicester Riders. We obviously talked last time out. Johnny O'Neill never turned up. They brought in Acott. They released Duke Shelton. They released Mike Mitchell Jr. And they've brought in Raekwon Battle, Carey Jr. and Aaron Menzies is back at Leicester and back in the league. But yeah, Riders making those changes. But what can we know about those players? You've mentioned Battle before on your Twitter stuff. Give Louis a follow on Twitter because his stuff on players is very insightful. But yeah, what can we expect from someone like a battle?
A fight. Yeah. So Raekwon Battle, huge scorer in the high major level of college basketball, which obviously is a very high level of basketball. Very highly touted out of college and G League. There was some like NBA draft buzz a little bit coming out. Like his thing is like his crazy shot making from deep and kind of in the mid range. He's also a very significantly athletic player, and we saw that in the game last week where he got a couple crazy highlight plays, plays above the rim, good athleticism on blocks, defensively, sometimes he can be a little bit undisciplined, but his athleticism stands out in terms of blocks, etc. So there's that. He's a scorer. That's his thing. A good sign last game was the fact he got 3 assists, because typically he doesn't pass that much. But yeah, I like how he's kind of integrating in the squad with another new addition that Grant will lead me on to. So
yeah, this whole Riders roster has been transformed. Like we were so high on them pre-season, like we really were. But obviously changes happened, and Rob's been pretty quick to ring them. But let's talk about Carey Jr. as well.
Yeah, like Carey Jr., I was really high on him coming out of New Zealand. Like, I had prior knowledge. I won't go too far into how I knew about him, but I did know about him. Don Carey, it's like scoring combo guards, primarily played at the 1. He's 6'5".
It's huge.
So that kind of gives you an inkling of how the level of player he is. Used to play high major at Georgetown. So that kind of gives you an inkling of his basketball pedigree. Multifaceted scorer, very skilled game, getting downhill, really plays off of 2 feet. Very good gather game around the basket, which was kind of evident last game. His shot 40% from 3 in New Zealand, and his shot making from deep, he interacts really well, off ball in terms of pass relocation, freeze. So he's just a really dangerous player, and a thing that really worked well last game was his passing, playmaking out of the pick and roll. So Newcastle blitzed the screens often. Because of his height, he can pass over the screen coverage. So there was loads of plays where he passed over the screen coverage. Menzies at the short roll, kick it out to Battle.
Yeah, you saw that. You saw that almost rinse repeat quite a number of times.
Yeah, so that's kind of Rob's dream scenario, really. So that's why I really like it alongside Raekwon Battle, because Raekwon Battle's key attribute is his shot making. Previously, in the previous 2 games before they got in Don Carey, where Raekwon Battle was playing, I thought his kind of forceful offense wasn't really interacting well with the team.
Yeah.
But now that he's moved more off ball, I think that works a lot better. So, yeah, Don Carey.
I suppose final one we began mentioning there, but Aaron Menzies back in the league. He's the guy's massive. It's going to cause I think we've spoke about it before this season. There's not a lot of legit 7-footers about this season, or there's a lot of 6'9" kind of guys. Like the Lions don't have a 7-footer this year. Glads, I suppose, don't really have a 7-footer. They've got a Kevin Allen. I think that's the best way to describe him, by the way. It's just his name.
A Kevin Allen.
Just a Kevin Allen.
Kevin Allen.
But Aaron Menzies brings something different to the Riders.
Yeah, like, because previously, obviously, they had Shelton and, the other dude, that I'm forgetting the name of for some reason. Martin, who both were kind of
who's only out injured.
Who's now obviously out injured, but they're both kind of physically, because a big component of the 5 spot is physicality and adding on the boards, etc., defending in the post. And I thought Nate Martin and Duke Shelton are kind of physically a little bit susceptible. We kind of saw that in some of their games where, Shelton's more skinny, Nate Martin's not the biggest guy. So that was kind of in terms of matchups and stuff like that, because you got to think in terms of recruitment matchups, so that wasn't a great thing for Leicester. Menzies, I mean, we saw it last game in the short roll. He made the right decisions over and over again, so in terms of value there, and his height does add a different dimension. He's pretty skilled around the basket, and he doesn't come with some of the stuff that Duke Shelton kind of comes with. So,
do you think as well, it's really kind of Manchester to have been working out Aaron Menzies for a good number of weeks. So he signs for Leicester and he's like in game ready shape.
Yeah. I think that might have been a little bit of a boo-boo, but hey-ho.
I know. But you know what? There was something, so let's talk about that first game before we get into anything else. Eagles at Riders. I mean, I think we all predicted last week or talked about the fact that it felt like this would be an Eagles win. Leicester, and that was again caveat that
was previously to Don Carey signing.
That was before Don Carey, and even maybe Aaron Menzies signing.
Yep,
we were like, yeah, this isn't going to work. But it turns out, obviously, Eagles releasing Brett Reed. They've replaced him with Hammond. We'll talk in Hammond shortly. He wasn't able to play in this game, which definitely hindered them. And it very much felt like Riders, new team, new role. Spencer Johnson looked great. Victor Nduku had some good plays as well. Like, shout out Vic. But
Big
it
man.
very much feels like the Riders season starts now.
Yeah, I think they're going to be scary, man. I really love what we saw in that game, even though, as you say, obviously Brett Reed not being there and they didn't have their new import. That kind of obviously changes stuff, but I think they're looking kind of scary, so...
Oh, everyone be afraid. But from an Eagles point of view,
afraid.
They obviously got that win against the Gladiators early on, been good at home. On the road, they've gone 0-2 this weekend on the road, which is never easy. Hammond did play on Sunday at Knicks, but missing someone like a Josh Ward-Hibbert from their rotation, when they do go small, they kind of just lose that kind of leadership on the court. It feels like Mayfield's come in, done a great job. Marco Anthony has done okay. He obviously had that great game at the start of the season. Mitchell Clark's looking okay. But was it last week we talked about Newcastle's maybe issue being like they're always in one guy. It's never a collective standout performance. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because it's a lot of kind of individual scoring and ISO, so that's a big part of the kind of the issue. It's a lot of Raekwon, Sean Taylor going 1-on-1, Maceo going 1-on-1. So it's tough. But what they're missing without Josh Ward-Hibbert is potentially a little bit more ball handling versus what they have. Obviously he's not a huge volume ball handler, but obviously it's a little bit more skill.
He gives you that option though, doesn't he?
Yeah, and also, that it means they can play Cole Long up, where I like him more as more like a 4 or a small ball 5. And also, they've been having quite a few issues in kind of their defensive rotations, I think. And I think Josh Ward-Hibbert, kind of shores that up. without Joshua Gibbert, they're missing a defensive body. So
they have lost 4 in the bounce now. They started 2-0 after obviously winning the road against Gladiators, winning at home against the Phoenix, but have now dropped. And you know what? When you look at their schedule, they dropped to Sharks on the road by 5. But this is how legit kind of tight their season's been, and a lot of the games have been this way. They dropped to the Sharks by 5, they lost to the Lions by 5, they lost to the Riders on obviously Friday night by 14, so that's the one difference, and then they lost to the Knicks by 6. So the just shows you a couple possessions here or there that someone like a Josh Ward-Hibbert would make a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. Like this league's a league of fine margins, so
absolutely.
It's tough.
Absolutely. All right, next game, Flyers at Gladiators. This game somehow came down to, I suppose, a buzzer, because Ethan Wright had a chance to win it. Joe Anderson, standout player on both sides. Ryan Holland probably had his best games for the Gladiators. But to me, once Flyers had taken the lead, Louis, it very much felt like the Flyers controlled the game, whether it was through Joe Anderson. I've forgotten what the other Anderson's first name is, but both Andersons. Zach Anderson. He was brilliant. But you can also, and I called him a vet, and I instantly corrected myself in comms on Friday night when I said Owen McCormick was a vet, because he's only a second-year pro. But what he does as a captain of that team...
Plays as a vet.
He does.
Plays like a vet.
He definitely does. Owen McCormick was incredible. Like when he was on the floor,
his
on the
glow
bench.
Up this season.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
His
glow up this season is crazy, man. Like, I mean, last season, obviously, he was more so like a bench player, guy off the bench. He didn't. I mean, he played his role, but he didn't have too significant thing. But it feels like he's, I don't know, he's playing with more chutzpah, so to speak. A little bit more energy. Defense. It's like he's got a little bit more of that dog in him.
But it was at moments. There was two standout moments that I saw proper leadership and captaincy. It was when Darnell Brodie threw his hands up because he turned it over. He had the Darnell Brodie switch off, and you can just see instantly Owen stood up and was demanding more from him. Like he was just a true leader. And then there was a moment when Cam Holden and Kevin Allen both got technicaled. And obviously Cam wasn't happy that I went to the bench, and it was Owen McCormick, and they almost came to a head, and Owen McCormick basically just sat him down, put him up, put his arm around him, and that was that. Like it was as if Cam Holden went, "No, this is my captain. I don't do this." It's Owen McCormick's team, and that leadership for a second year pro, and you can tell he's just exactly what Kapoulis is looking for. Like genuinely, his leadership probably kept the quality up. Stopped. Because the Gladiators did keep coming back into that game, and then the Flyers would go ahead, then come back. It was like proper seesaw kind of game. But I think without Owen McCormick, whether he was on the court or off the court, the Flyers don't win that game. Like that's how important Owen McCormick was on Friday. And I'll say that big statement now.
The big statement, but I mean the importance of leadership is very big. As you say, several kind of gilt edge moments in the game. Like if a leader can kind of change those and affect it for the good, it's all good. So.
I mean, the Flyers 4-1, and you know what?
I think clearly something's working. So.
I mean, is this when we fight we grovel to the Bristol public and apologise for our predictions and having them so far down the other end of the table?
I mean, we need to see more. We need to see more evidence. Still very early days. I mean, a
good win against Sheffield. They lost to the Lions, of course. A good win against Leicester. A good win against Surrey. A good win against the Gladiators.
They are good. They're clearly going to be good. I mean,
next 5 games, they play the Phoenix at home, Eagles away, Sharks away, Glads at home, Lions at home. They've maybe not got a standout scorer. Yoakum's at 14.
A lot of guys that fit in their roles, man.
Well, that's it. They're the definition of that for sure.
Egalitarian team. I mean, I love what Joe Anderson kind of does at the 1 because
he's so quick.
He's so quick. Like his kind of dribble penetration is dangerous. And he's not forceful offensively. He's, willing to share the ball around. It creates a lot of good ball movement. And with their shooting, that's very dangerous. And then defensively, they do have decent defensive bodies. So I like the Glads.
That bit we deleted it.
So
No, but
they have
no,
the
but
scoring and they can defend as well.
But then let's talk about that. That's like the Gladiators don't seem to have an issue scoring the ball. It's stopping on the other end. Like you look at people like this was Rhian Holland's best weekend for sure. Matthew Ragsdale off the bench again is superb shooting. Like it feels as if the Gladiators have a lot of talent. It's just they've still not worked out how to put that talent together on the defensive end to get a couple more stops. Like we talked obviously Sunday in WhatsApp about all this going, like I kept saying, Gladiators gave up a lot of second chance points, and you went, well, they actually had the same as the Lions, but it felt like the Lions got them at the right time, whereas the Gladiators, like I feel like they're lacking a decisive go and get the ball rebounder type. Like it feels like every team has that.
Well, it's just that. I mean, Dave, I hate to rip off Dave's ideas, but like Dave said, they don't have like a Prince Onwas. They don't have a defensive stopper. Like they don't have a high end defender.
I mean, that's
on their team.
You wonder if they
Toto.
brought, and even Toto though. Like there was a couple of times across the weekend he was caught on his heels and gets beat to the basket, and he does rely on his length to kind of. He's
an athletic, toolsy guy, but in terms of discipline defensively,
and I think it was interesting. Dalen Williams has been brought in as I suppose a small ball 5-4 man, but actually Brody against him, Brody destroyed him. Actually, Brody struggled more against a Jet Spielman. Jet Spielman just took the battle on, and actually Jet defensively on Brody did a better job. I would like to see Williams be a bit more aggressive. He's maybe just taking that little bit longer because it does seem to be able to do a little bit longer to settle in this league, which I suppose can happen. But I think when you look at comments across social media from like Gladiators fans, they're much happier of how this team is playing. Like they're enjoying watching this team
because they are fun. They are a fun side, and we always we're looking at the performance side, but obviously there's an entertainment element too.
Yeah.
Like they are a fun watch. I mean, that's fair to say. But they do have some stuff they need to sort out. And quick.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And we'll touch on that for the Lions bit again. All right, third game. This is, again, we're racing through this because, well, it's just the two of us. It's also a Tuesday afternoon we're recording this. And I need to get back to work at some point. But Eagles at Knicks. The Knicks at home are so good. Like
they are. They're so good. Man. They are so good. They're dangerous.
Like we talk about, like Phoenix are 3-3, right? Head after this weekend, but you see how they're almost just a different beast at home.
There's something about the crowd, man. At Ellesmere Port, it just spurs them on.
Like you see the way someone like a Skylar White at home, like he's basically the best cheerleader possible.
Chef Curry. He's Steph Curry, man. He's Chef Curry.
Like
cooking, yeah.
I think, I've just looked at it because I was like, obviously they started the season with 3 away. They went 0-3. They've then had 3 home games. They're 3-3. Like they're a team that on home sort of like LaQuincy plays up for the home crowd. Skylar plays up for the home crowd. Like Ben Thomas certainly gets the vibes right for the home games.
Bro, I mean, it is so manic at that place. Like the kids are screaming, everything's going on.
Are you calling Skylar White a kid? Because all you see him doing is absolutely roaring. It's quality. I love it.
He spurs it on. I love it.
Absolutely.
Like he is the heart and soul of that team. You were saying about Owen McCormack. That's a leader in another capacity, Yeah. So, but obviously, the manic nature of the crowd kind of spurs on their fast-paced style.
Yeah.
If it's creating that little, like 5% more energy, is effective. So, I mean, I don't want to go into cliches and stuff, but home court advantage.
Home court advantage. Patrick Robinson, him and LaQuincy almost taking game about who's going off at the moment, but you have to be impressed with what he's doing.
That's a battle between LaQuincy and Pat Robinson.
They did finish the game both on the court.
They did. And actually, there was a game against the Lions where I kind of really liked the two lineup with the two on the court, because I kind of feel like they're kind of 2-3, Tobias Cameron and Jackson Brenchley. I kind of feel like their advantage creation in terms of like handle is kind of a little bit so-so, because they're both kind of linear players. So what I mean by that is, in terms of like handle, like shiftiness, creating advantages of the dribble, I think they're kind of a little bit meh. Okay. So I kind of like the dynamic of the two ball handlers. Basically, that's what I'm saying. So,
and you look at that. So I'm just pulling up the stats now. LaQuincy Rideau through 5 games. This doesn't. 2 seconds. Teams. First of all, player average. There we go. Cheshire Phoenix player average, like LaQuincy, he's up to 41% from 3. Pat Robinson, he's not. He's at 27%, but he shoots inside for like over 6%, whereas LaQuincy's 43. LaQuincy's up to 9 points a game. Pat Robinson's 16 points. An assist point of view, they're about just over 3, both of them. Both do turn the ball over between like a total of maybe, what's that? About 6 turnovers a game between them. Both round about 26 minutes a game. Like, I genuinely just think, I'm sorry, that's not true, because LaQuincy's actually only 20 minutes a game. But you can see, like, I'm curious as the season grows how Ben manages the two of them, because they both will want to do it. I think that's the biggest thing, because I think when it's working, they'll work really well together. But you've also seen Ben this season sit either of them down because the other one's on a hot one.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting dynamic, because obviously, you know, LaQuincy's the guy, right? He's and also obviously the guy they've probably paid the big bucks for. And then you've got Pat Robinson. Compared to Pat Robinson, but then, you know, Pat Robinson, I feel, as a lead guard, I think they've played a lot better with Pat Robinson at the 1 so far. So that's a question for. That's going to be a difficult dynamic, I think, as the season goes on, because LaQuincy's not going to want to relinquish the reins, is he?
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And I suppose LaQuincy, he likes playing at home. He likes getting it. Pat Robinson doesn't seem to have the same ego type dynamic about him, so it's going to be definitely one to watch. In this game, Eagles did have their new player Hammond playing. What do we know about him?
Yeah, so he's kind of like a swingman, kind of, you know, 2-3. That's so okay. So he's a very good shooter. Okay, yeah. I'm just trying to rationalize how to say this. Very good shooter. Kind of, you can run him off ball screen action where he's coming off like a pin down or whatever, and he can rise up for the shot. So in terms of that, dangerous shot maker.
Yeah.
He's also very quick getting downhill. He's also physical. So he's got a threat, you know, getting to the rim, you know, in terms of slashing to the basket. His kind of issue in the BBL, because he wasn't okay. So people will come. No,
BBL Germany. Sorry. Delete that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so people say 2-year BBL and BCL. He played in the BCL, his first BBL year. People will bring that up and say he's too good for the level, etc. He didn't do anything at the BBL level. His stats are bad. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. Why he didn't work as well is he is like, his handle is a little bit more loose.
Yeah.
He is a linear player. He's more so a linear player that can create off the dribble a lot more than kind of like a Brenchley or a Tobias Cameron, which is why he kind of got to that level in the first place. But his dribble is pressurable. In terms of defense, he's a Newcastle player. You know, he's from that I mean very physical, very versatile player that can guard multiple positions, because that's what Stutel's looking for. He's looking for switchable guys. That's his defensive scheme. That's where they're most successful, in kind of being able to switch every ball screen, you know, every screening action. So yeah, dangerous scorer, not going to assist much, which, you know, that kind of plays into some of Newcastle's issues again, where it's kind of a lot of individual stuff. I mean, that's what Stutel wants to get to. Like he loves exploiting mismatches and kind of players that can, score in ISO situations, which he can do. But in terms of aiding their ball movement, I'm not too sure.
Does this
stuff like that.
And there's a few chats we've seen with Eagles supporters and stuff. Obviously, a big question mark we had at the start of the season was their roster balance. Brett Reed's dropped, obviously been released. Josh Ward-Hibbert's injured, as we mentioned. Hammond's come in. We saw Emmanuel Canway get a lot more court time in this game and kind of put up, some decent numbers. His kind of first opportunity.
Yeah.
Is this something we think Eagles have corrected? Are they still? Do you think they'll go back in looking for a big man? It's a very Newcastle type team with Hammond in it, and that's how Stutel likes to play, and that's fine. And maybe we're talking.
Micah Koru. He said Micah Koru.
Yeah,
but go on. Sorry, finish this sentence.
Thanks. But obviously they brought in Maceo Jack. Is Stutel going to be quite happy with this team? Because the Eagles do, like under Martial, like to go small. So actually, when we talk about conventional basketball, like saying roster balance, has he actually got his pieces? And if he needs someone like a Canway, or when Darius is fit, or I suppose Malcolm Smith playing some proper 5-man type basketball, they can do that. But actually, from how we know Mark likes to play, likes a small ball 5. So if it's going to be Marco Anthony or whoever, then or Cole Long even, actually Newcastle could be quite settled, especially once they get Hammond into the rotation, Josh Ward-Hibbert back, and if Darius is going to get some good minutes.
Yeah. So kind of Dave kind of brought up that it would have been that the Hammond getting rid of Brett Reed would have been informed by the fact that they do have Canway at the 5 and Darius at the 5, and obviously, the other geezers, but that they can plug the minutes, the other geezers. I don't know why I said that, but they have other players they can plug in at the 5 spot. Yeah. My issue is that is putting a lot, because I'm not going to lie, in terms of what we've seen so far, I'm not too sure about Malcolm Smith playing at this level, to be perfectly frank. I'm just going to put that out there and get crucified for it. But I said at the beginning of the season, I don't really like him at this level, because he's a tough shot maker, undersized. I just don't like it. But basically, it puts a lot of onus on Canway to be that matchup kind of big 5, where they, if Stutel wants to go match like for like against a proper 5, or maybe if they have issues with rebounding, etc. But I don't really I'm not too sure about that, because it means they need to play Marco Anthony a lot of minutes at the 5 spot, which I like. I said it at the beginning of the season, but it's tough on him. It's going to be tough if he's guarding, these 6'10", like Darnell Brody or Kevin Allen. Mm-hmm. He had a decent game guarding Kevin Allen, but it's tough on him to sustain that for an entire game. For Canway to be that matchup 5, I don't know. I would have liked if they did bring in another proper 5-man to be that kind of physical plug-in, like a Mike Kotrobia, what Sheffield have. Because I mean, he's a big body, he can move. He doesn't really need to do much else. He's very valuable there.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of my point I was getting at. Maybe it would have been better if they did kind of have another 5, but the issue was that they didn't have much guard play. I'm not really sure Dion does that, but I'm rambling, so please move me on.
It's going to be definitely one to watch Eagles over the next coming week once they get some bodies back, once Hammond settles in. A wee bit of chat that Malcolm Smith is almost going to be counting as a Brit, I suppose. So it'll be interesting to see if they do anything.
God.
Thank God. I suppose, because I think they've recruited him thinking that he would be Brit eligible.
Yeah.
So if that's taking longer to process, then it's going to be interesting to see what they turn into. Like, they could be another team that, as the season progresses, like come cup competitions or even come towards the end of the season, like there's again only 9 teams. Teams can go on runs. Like Cheshire started at 0-3, now 3-3. Eagles started 2-0, now 2-4. Like, all can happen. So it's definitely one to watch for Eagles fans. And Newcastle are always going to win games. Like, that's just how they play. But it's going to be one to watch to see if there's any more roster changes. All right, last game. Gladiators at the Lions on Sunday. Lions stay undefeated. Glads drop another. Lions added a new guy, Chess and Randall, in with Reynolds being out injured. No Visoko in this one either. Lions obviously started a little bit different with starters. I said they rotated quite heavily, but then Louis went, well, they're not. Their big guys have all played their usual minutes. They're just in a different order. Let's start with the venue chat.
Oh, let's start with the venue chat.
I think that's the best.
Let's get into it.
They played it, was it New City College, 2 days after playing, 2 days? 3 days? 3 days. Whatever day of the week it was. They obviously played in Europe at the Copper Box. It's announced said they'll be playing a few games at the college. The bleacher system doesn't work, so it was just rows of chairs. It was just a kind of almost season ticket holder kind of game.
It's a BCB game, basically.
Yeah. Or very pre-season-y type feel. Reading accounts of people who were there, and this is where I don't dislike it, because I'm like, see, sometimes when it is just a smaller crowd and it's your hardcore fans, it's proper basketball atmosphere. It's people there to cheer the team on, and I bet you it was an enjoyable game for them, which it seemed to be. I just don't know how it can work long term when you're signing players who have got ex-NBA or 100-odd games in the NBA.
Yeah, in terms of PR spin, that's not great. So my thing is, right, it's all right if they sort that bloody bleacher out, and if they can actually get a proper crowd in. We see it on the continent. We have teams like Legia Warsaw who play in 2 arenas. They have a small arena and they have a big ass arena that they play in. Big ass arena that they play in when they have big games. So it's feasible, it's viable. It creates a better atmosphere in the small games where they're not forced to, attempt to fill out a Copper Box that probably has only like 500 people there, which creates a dead atmosphere. It's not great viewing, to be perfectly frank. So in terms of the product, that's better, practically speaking, if they can sort the bloody bleacher out. But it's not a great precedent in terms of having games behind closed doors. I really don't like that.
Yeah, agreed.
We are a professional product. We shouldn't be having games with 100 people there, perfectly frank. And to be honest, the players deserve more. These are high quality players. They shouldn't be playing. I mean, Jess and Randall's first experience of British basketball shouldn't be in a college with 50 people there. This isn't the BCB. This is the SLB. This is our top level product, and it needs to have a level of quality that's commensurate to that. They just need to sort out the bleachers. Then I'll be fine with it. But
yeah, I think that's the thing, and I get it. If teams are going, are we going to sell games back to back? It's really hard. It is hard, and we've talked about that. I think we've talked about it most episodes this week about what teams can do if it makes sense and they can fill out that place with the bleachers working and whatnot. I bet it would be a brilliant game to be brilliant atmosphere. But so would be full Copper Box games as well.
Yeah, you can't rest on your laurels. That's the point. You can't be, just giving up on filling in the Copper Box because you have the alternative of NCC, New City College. Yeah. You can't be using that as kind of like a crutch to excuse poor marketing and, not being able to fill your own arena. That should be first and foremost. And I suppose
this is where we talked about before we recorded, like Eagles towards the end of last season, maybe the first few weeks this season, games looked a bit quiet, but it seems like the Eagles are, I mean, I want to use the name All In with their supporters club because that's the name of the supporter club, I suppose. They're doing a really good job. Like you can see that working relationship between fan organisation and the club doing really good things. Like we've heard that Eagles are having the best in terms of attendance and start to the season. I think the word was ever. And that's amazing. So every team again should be looking to that. And London are no different, even though you could say, oh yeah, but Copper Box is huge, bad, they've got Euro Cup, Eagles got ENBL. Like teams have got to make it work.
Yeah, I mean their ambition is Euro Cup, Euro League. If you're going to spend 1.5 million on your roster, which is minimum spend for Euro Cup, you can't be playing out of NCC half your games. You know, you need to be filling out the Copper Box because that is what I mean. Zalgiris talks about sustainability and creating a sustainable club. You know, we had 777, which disbanded because obviously it wasn't even close to being sustainable because they couldn't get enough people in. They need to get the people in. You know, we've been seeing good kind of things that they've been doing in terms of TalkSport, stuff like that, which is huge. I think TalkSport, them getting kind of TalkSport back in is huge. There hasn't really been many people actually watching the TalkSport live streams, which is a shame. But they've been getting on the radio, I've heard, so that's excellent. But yeah, just to get back to the point, they need to be filling out that arena if they really want to be a EuroLeague club. So, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, on to this game. Chesson Randall's first game as a Lion. As we said, Shavar Reynolds out injured. I think they expect him to be out 3 months. So it seems as if Randall's in at least for 3 months. What do we know about Chesson Randall?
Combo guards that his kind of... So they described him as like a point guard. I mean, he clearly can fulfill that function. So in terms of him replacing Shavar Reynolds, that's going to work. But his main value is kind of off-ball shot making in terms of threes, being able to run off screens and shoot the ball. You know, his main thing, I kind of think of him like a Mike Mitchell type of guard that's more valuable off-ball than on-ball, if that kind of makes sense. He's much more of like a guy that thrives kind of, spotting up, you know, playing off of other players and kind of passing relocation than a guy that's going to be a Shavar Reynolds type that's going to create a lot, like on ball, create a lot of advantages on ball and kind of create in the mid range. So, but obviously he's an ex-NBA player, so his skills across the board are going to be high. So.
And I think I saw something crazy that says that he's played across every continent.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's quite cool.
But he also, another stat.
Apparently he won. I like it.
Apparently he won EuroLeague with Real Madrid. So there we go.
So he's definitely one to watch. He was in the
played
EuroLeague
9 minutes
team
a game, but
he played with Luka. Was that not Luka Doncic's season there?
Was it?
I don't know. That's probably wrong when I think about it now.
I mean, that's bigger than me. That's bigger than what I said.
That's not. Let's just ignore that. Never happened.
Let's move on.
Okay. But you know what? Lions in this game, again, kind of similar from a Gladiators point of view. On Friday, Lions got ahead. Glad's brought it back. Lions got ahead. Glad's brought it back. But that final 3 minutes, it felt like only one team really wanted it.
Yeah, it felt like Glad's kind of messed up a bit. They kind of gave up a couple easy points in transition.
I mean, was it Williams dunk down the middle, or was it Joe Scott dunk down the middle towards the end?
One of them. Yeah. One of their fours. Either or.
Quick 2-3 passes, boom, through the Glad's defense.
But that's the type of point you can't. Those are the types of points you can't be giving up in a close game. That was terrible. Their offense, past last couple of possessions, they didn't really get to anything.
It was just Ethan Wright.
They were trying to use actions to get Ethan Wright open, but just janky. They didn't go to Kevin Allen. I mean, you said he hid from the big lights, but they didn't run anything from him, which is kind of going to be a big kind of talking point, I think.
I mean, we're going to talk about Kevin Allen because offensively, he's such a massive positive. Like he Lions didn't have an answer for him in the first half. I think second half they changed up on him. They kind of bodied him a bit more. But we've seen a kind of growing skill set from the guy. Like his first game, it was all under the basket. We've seen a bit of a mid-range game. We've seen a few more offensive kind of moves that we have. But it's defensively where, in transition, it's a struggle. And that's where in this league, like transition defense, offense is huge. It's so high paced. I think I've seen something that Kevin Allen, for all his offensive might, it's okay, plus minus. He was minus 16 on Sunday. Is that where Glad's just lacked that? And you know what? Give him his due. Daniel Carr played, I think, 5-6 minutes in this game. And he actually had a really good contribution. Nothing huge in the stats. I think he got a rebound and maybe an assist. But in terms of defensive presence, I was like, you know what? The young guys put a couple of shifts in, bodied up some players and stopped some easy scores. Like there was one, I think, on Jonathan Williams. And you're like, when you look at Jonathan Williams' career and then young Daniel Carr, you think there's only one winner. And I suppose in one or two
Daniel
possessions,
Carr.
That was it. D2 legend going to work. Like it was just interesting. I just wonder, obviously, me and you go back and forth from Kevin Allen just because, well, it's good fun more than anything else. The Glads defensively need to work out how they can utilise Kevin Allen better. Because offensively, when they go through him, it creates a lot of space. He can get points. He's actually, I've seen a couple of, I can't remember his turnovers or his assist numbers, but he has, he brings the defense into him because he's so dominant. Yeah. But defensively, they need to work out what they're going to do.
Yeah, they really do. Because, he's limited mobility-wise, even though he has previously looked much, much worse. So I hate to think what that would have looked like. But, they just need to sort out how to kind of hide his weaknesses in terms of, his mobility on the ball screen defense and stuff like that. That's what they need to figure out.
Where does that come from? Does it be we kind of touched on it there. The Glads in the last few seasons have had 3 seasons ago and 2 seasons ago, version of Prince Onwaz was much better than last season.
Yeah, so
they missed that kind of Jet Spielman. I think's okay defensively. His offensive game's pretty decent, and actually at times this season I think he stepped up massively in defense. But when someone like a Prince Onwaz was at his best, he was worth a couple of defensive stops alone.
Yeah.
Whether it was creating steals, creating bad opportunities for teams, taking charges. I don't know if this Gladiators team have a player that will put their body onto the line yet.
Yeah, so the way to mitigate kind of his, Kevin Allen's weakness in defense, like the ball screen defense, is to have that point of attack defender that's going to really disrupt, what the guard does in the pick and roll. And Glads don't have that. Their lead guard, Rian Holland, is kind of a smaller, skinnier scoring combo, really, versus like a pest defensively. And that's the thing that's kind of the issue in kind of their defense at the moment, that they don't have anyone to mitigate his weaknesses. If they had like a Prince Onwaz, you can stick at the point of attack and kind of disrupt their play. They kind of experiment sometimes with Toto there, which, to be honest, I think Toto's actually because he's good on ball, but obviously his off-ball defense sometimes can be a little bit susceptible, even though, it's valuable to have him as like a secondary rim protector. So that's a potential thing, but they just need to sort out, because they just don't have many athletes, really. I mean, they have a lot of shooting. Ethan Wright, he's a little bit more athletic versus the other geezers. But
is that your word today?
Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying that, but I'm just gonna stick with it. That's my motto for today, geezer. But Ethan Wright's more athletic, but yeah,
it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks to see how the season pans out. They're definitely going to get wins, but it's how they as a team develop defensively, because offensively it seems to be ticking quite good. It's just now how they get those defensive stops. But if you're a Lions fan, you're seeing shoots of improvements in terms of, okay, a convincing win in Europe, not really convincing, but a good win against the Gladiators, maybe not the top opponents, but there was a little bit more ball movement. There seemed to be a little bit more cohesion in the team. So I think Lions are kind of looking to be pushing up again.
Yeah, I mean, that Trento game, if anyone watched that, was bloody mental. I mean, the Trento team, Lions were up 40 points. They almost threw that away. They almost did a Surrey, man. They almost... I honestly had no idea what I was watching.
That might be the first mention this season of surreying it. They surreyed it. I think that's the first mention.
That is the first mention. Probably won't be the last, I'm not going to lie. I think Surrey will probably choke a few games this season. But Lions are looking like the first half against Trento. Their ball movement was spectacular.
Yeah.
Their previous issues were just a lot of, dead plays, really. A lot of McGusty ISO. So that in terms of that, they've clearly improved. But to win by that against Caledonia, obviously they were rotating a little bit.
We're a good league, man. It's a good league.
You're stealing my line there. That's what I said on the WhatsApp. We're too good. We're too good. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just expecting more.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. And I think that was Dean Williams had one of his best games for Lions. So it's going to, again, I wonder if we're just beginning to see, obviously, Sabonis, rookie coach, getting into it. I'm curious to see how Lions do this week in Europe, for example.
Yeah. See, if they carry on their form or get blown out. Basically,
yeah. All right, let's look ahead to the next games. We went from 3-game slate to a 4-game slate. I'm sure there's 5 games this week. I've just closed the website, which is a disaster for me, but we'll quickly get it back up. But I'm sure we've got 5 games this week. So we've gone from 3 to 4. We're now up to 5. And let's see where we're going with these, with some predictions, I suppose. First game, Flyers hosting the Knicks. This is going to be a fun game. Where are you going with this one?
Fun. Flyers hosting the Knicks, so it has to be Flyers. Away from home.
Wait, what?
What?
What did you just say? What did you say?
Flyers hosting the Knicks. So Flyers are home. So Flyers win.
Flyers win. I got confused there. I thought you said a Knicks on away win. Sorry.
No.
So I was what? That's what I was confused.
No.
I genuinely think this could be a fun game to see how Cheshire's away form go. But at the SGS, Bristol are really good. So I think I'm going to go with what you said, Bristol, to keep that one as well. So next one is Surrey at home to the Riders. We're both choosing Riders now, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Surrey are going to have to... Surrey are going to have to shoot the lights out. Surrey have had a weekend off and they've got double game this weekend. Them and the Phoenix have 2 games next game. Manchester at home to Surrey. Manchester for the revenge game.
Yeah, Manchester come back. They have to
Are
win.
Manchester looking better, do we think? They've had a couple of weeks off, so...
I mean, their loss against Slovan Bratislava I really didn't like. That was kind of weak. Slovan were missing a couple key players, so...
I suppose you'd hope that... Manchester had such a good pre-season. It'll be interesting to see. They're 2-1. They've only played 3 games this season. So have Surrey, to be honest. I'm curious to see what that means. Your assumption would be Manchester at home, but Surrey just outshot them last time out. But could Surrey do that on the road? Don't know. All right, next game, Gladiators at home on Sunday against the London Lions. It's every Gladiators game this season's followed the same script, so it'll be a close game,
Lions
potentially, and the Lions will the script. Every game this season for the Glads has been the same script, like it generally has.
Yeah, late Lions win.
Yep. Final game, potentially the funnest game of the weekend. Cheshire Phoenix at home to the Sheffield Sharks.
You know where I'm going.
Can Sheffield keep I mean, Chapman versus Riddle will be fun.
Box office.
Like Nixon versus Robinson, that'll be good. Like, there's some really good matchups in this game. Will Lee versus Skylar White.
It is. I mean, it's box office. So
this Tobias Cameron versus Nick Kern.
What?
I'm just trying to think of Mike Ochorovia versus Matt Zona.
Matt Zona.
Like, who else? Anyway, I think this could be
Lindo.
Lindo versus Rodney Glasgow Jr. Jordan Routinho. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you're going Sharks. I'm going Cheshire at home because Cheshire just so like they're a proper hard team to beat at home. When we quickly look at standings, the Lions 5-0 league to league, Flyers through 5 or 4-1, Sharks no game this weekend through 5 or 3-2, Cheshire 3-3, the Ballers. I still would love them to have another name. Are 2-1. They didn't play this week. Eagles, even though they were started 2-0, they've dropped the last 4 to 2-4. Surrey have dropped the last 2. The Riders, though, sit second bottom. Now that the Gladiators played 2 games this weekend, so they're 1-4. We suspect that will massively change.
Yeah.
They obviously play the Surrey Niners, and the Glads are 1-5. Dum-da-da-dum. And have somehow been in every single game. There we have it. Still managed 51 minutes, Louis, somehow, but
I have no idea how we did that, but
I don't know either. Hopefully that's been a good listen. Continue to get involved in the conversation. Thank you for sharing and subscribing. If you have, give us a review on any kind of podcast, YouTube, whatever you listen or watch this on. And yeah, we'll be back next week. We have got coming up, we're going to do our kind of jersey rankings. And all the teams have got that, and we'll try and make that a good one. We might even just put that out just across YouTube, so that'll be a YouTube exclusive. Big words.
That's a drop.
That's a
YouTube
big
exclusive.
A YouTube
Whoa.
exclusive. I know. So yeah, Louis, thanks for doing this again. You're supposed to say you're welcome.
That's all right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Good. And yeah, we'll be back next week with another SLB show.